Good morning, everyone. This is Charlotte, and we are chatting in cars. This is a podcast where I pick out random topics and then discuss them at length on tangents. The topic for today is tattoos, unless you haven't guessed from the, subtitle of the podcast. That's a bit obvious. I probably shouldn't have said that. Anyway, so there's a disclaimer at the start of the podcast, which tells you that I swear, yes, I do, and I'll take ownership and accountability for that. There is also some sensitive topics, probably not in this one, I don't know. Oh no, maybe. Anyway, which you might not be ready to hear or talk about or want to know about. And I do tend to go off on tangents when I talk about them. So you might start off talking about, I don't know, fava beans and then go off on some, weird shit. So as a heads up, yes, there may be content, which you might not want to hear, okay? So I'm giving you a heads up now, so you can turn over. I'll give you a couple of seconds. That's a couple of seconds. No, fuck it. You're already here? You still here? Good. Okay. Right. Let's go talk about tattoos. All right. I have several tattoos. My first of all tattoo my first one, I got when I was about 19. It's just a small rose on the inside of my hip, if that makes sense. Just above the bikini line. I was 19. I'm English, and it made sense. So, yes, it hurt like a bastard. No, I wasn't ready for it. But everyone else was doing it, so I did it. But then again, I also did it because, it's a awakening of adult, what do they call it? Like a threshold? Rite of passage, that's the one. There was a rite of passage thing. Because I grew up in an area that was sort of a, poverty low SES area. Everybody had, by the time they were my age now, 37, they had tattoos and piercings and all kinds of shit. So what you did as soon as you were legal, it's a bit younger now, actually, because parents are more considerate of kids wanting to do weird shit. But as soon as you were legal enough to, say 18 or something like that, you went out and you got your first tattoo, and it was possibly something dumb, possibly something meaningful, who knows? It was up to you, basically. My parents were against them. I did it anyway. Because at that point, I didn't give a fuck what my parents thought. I still don't, actually, at this point, but that's more age-related than anything. Back then it was more care related. They didn't give a shit about me in the important ways, so why should they give a shit about me in these particular ways, I saw it more of a control mechanism. Sorry, my brain is fried and I'm slurring a bit. I promise I'm not drunk. It's autism. So yeah, it was just one of those very basic, I saw a picture on the wall and I liked it and I got it. So it's only about the size of maybe, your thumb length. It's not huge. The huge one came later, along with the nipple piercings. So right about when I was about mid-20s, I think it was, I ended up getting my big tattoo, which is my rose that goes right down my spine. It is a red rose. It was just as rose. I wanted to see how much pain I could take, and I like roses. So it was a weird thing. It had meaning to me as well, though, because that was about the right age when I started settling down and getting on with my life. So that was to mark that occasion. I said, right, here's some permanence. I'm going to sort of relate it to my life in this kind of way. From then, mid-20s to about 36, I had this big gap of all these weird shits and events that are happening, and I kept telling myself that I was going to update my tattoo to accommodate all these events and things like that, because the way I see it is tattoos are representative of the milestones you've gone through your life or significant events that have, shaped your way of thinking and feeling. It's not just art, it's art mixed with meaning for me. It's a cultural thing as well. I come from Irish culture, I come from English culture, Cockney culture, so that's all based on ink meaning something. It's not just, oh, my friends did this, so, And I've seen that a lot, because where I live, there's a shitload of hipsters, and they're all just doing this stuff, and they'll get a tattoo because it's fashionable at the time. And when you ask them about it, it's like, well, that has nothing to do with your culture or upbringing. Why did you do that? It's weird seeing like a white guy with Maori tattoos. I'm going, what? Have you ever been to New Zealand? It's like, why? I just like the art. Fuck you. It's not your culture. Why would you do that? I mean, I'm white as white. I'm pasty Irish white. If I got a Maori tattoo, I'd probably get thumped. It's like, that is not your shit. You don't touch that. That's how important it is to me. It's like, at the moment, my tattoos are sort of pictorial. I would love to get botanical looking ones because they're pretty cool. But, you know, I can get away with the ones I've got because they're not, you know, based on someone else's culture. I find it really insulting, actually, when people get tattoos of shit that's not part of their culture. It's like you just have no right to it. It pisses me off. But that's just me. I could be wrong. Other people would justify it saying I'm celebrating that culture for them, sort of thing. It might be some kind of voyeurist, vicarious thing. But it seems insulting to me. Yeah. I know some people get offended by ways hair is braided as well. It's like I'm ginger, right? If you see my hair in cornrows, I would understand why you're offended. But my people, the Celts, actually did have braids and plaits in their hair. They came from Celtic, you know, Viking sort of stock. We all had braids and plaits. We just had them slightly different from what, say, African culture had. So I can understand why people would be offended, but at the same time, you have to give some leeway as to, you know, sometimes there's a crossing over of cultural traits. Sometimes everybody just does this, right, sort of thing. It's like, yeah. Anyway, but tattoos for me are very fucking personal. They're very personal. They represent who you are, or maybe you're drawing some kind of sort of cultural strength, you know, like strength from what you're sort of covering yourself in. Because my background is Gaelic Celt culture, it's also related back to the tattooed people in Scotland sort of thing, because they were Celts as well. The Picts, you know, that came before the Celts. So there's a big history of tattooing in my lineage, which is why I'm okay with people who have tattoos, and I can understand where you're coming from and why you would want to do it. But when I see people borrowing other people's shit just because it looks cool or makes them look badass, and I get pissed off. I'm like, this has no fucking meaning to you. Why are you doing this? It's just a, you know, show pony or bandwagon jumping. It pisses me off. If you're covered in ink, you better be able to justify why you did it. And not just because your friends were doing it. Although I kind of half did that when I was in my, 19, so my friends were doing it. But that was my rite of passage. I lived in a shit area, and that's what you did. That's still part of my makeup. So yeah, when I got to 36, I upgraded my tattoo to what it is now. So it went from just a single red rose, very British, very patriotic, to incorporating more of my Irish side and things as well. So now I've got a bunch of Gaelic words going down the leaves of the rose. Gra at the top. I have trouble remembering because I never got a chance to learn the Gaelic properly. I started learning and I never really got it. It bugs the shit out of me that I don't know it fluently. So I've got Gra at the top of my rose, which is love, which is absolutely the topmost topic for me. It's the most important thing in life as far as I'm concerned, is love, because from love comes all things. As long as you do it right, it's a growth, positive, you know. I love love, man. It's like, you can't not, right? Everybody wants this. So that's my topmost. I always put that at the top. I was adamant about that. I've also got a crown and a bee and a monarch at the top of my tattoo, crowning the rose bloom. I did that because you gotta, you know, love is king sort of thing, you know. You got the bee and the monarch butterfly, which is royalty. It's all insignia as well. Down the bottom, I've got a phoenix because of all the shit I've come out of and come out clean, funny enough. Rebirth and all that, yes, it means something to me. It's a bit cliche, really. Some people look at it and go, oh, that's a bit dumb. But you sit there and think, you fucking weren't there, fuck off, it's my body. So, fuck you. It's like, it's a cliche. It's like, I don't do it for updates. The only people that are going to see this tattoo is people who are fucking me. So just get away from me, because you're not gonna. Underneath that, I've got Plus Ascendoir, which is more in you. Which is kind of like a family, you know, thing. It's good to live by because it does remind you, and I've permanently inked myself with this mindset now that there is more in me and I can keep going, I can survive, and it builds a sort of toughness to it as well. You take on that sort of mindset and energy. So it's nice to, you know, remind yourself that you can and that you will. And don't stress if, you know, shit's going tits up, because it will get better. And, you know, it's a very positive mindset to have. Don't forget who you are and where you come from, sort of thing. What else is there? That's about it, really. I know I'm going to add on them. I know I'm going to add to them as I get older, because that's, part of my heritage and culture. Is you get tattooed, you build up. It's a bit like in Moana, when the guy is like covered in tattoos and it's all stories about his life. That's pretty cool. I liked that movie. I also like the soundtrack. Anyway, but Maoris are just like tropical versions of what we were. So it's like tropical cousins of Vikings. So I think we're going to be okay there. That's why I get along with them so well. You guys are like the tropical version of us. It's like, yeah, you're like the ice version. It's like, okay, cool. Let's compare tattoos. It's pretty cool. But, I love the cultural side, and I love the art side of things as well. If you can find a really good tattooist, it's amazing. At the moment, the phoenix down the bottom of my spine, I had to cover up some of the stalk as well. I've never got to the point where I've had to cover up a bad tattoo, which I'm grateful for. My friend Chrissy, my gay friend Chris, he's lovely, I love him. He is a very butch guy for a gay guy. But he had his family crest, I think it was, and then they covered it up with a wolf or something like that. It was a big one though, but I don't know why he got rid of his family crest. I think he might have thought it was a bit too, I don't know, camp or something like that. I don't know. But it turned out really well. I was a bit worried about that because I'm not sure how well the ink would attach to the skin that's already inked. I know you can't tattoo white over black really, because it's too hard to get the whiteness there. My ex-husband used to have a tattoo as well. It was the symbol for, I think it was Sagittarius or something like that. The number or a symbol or something for Sagittarius. I don't know if he's added anything to it since, because last time I was chatting to him was like 4 years ago, and I dropped contact since. But he got just the basic, and he was going to expand into, all down his arms and stuff like that. But I don't think he went very far with that. He probably started it on a whim, and because he tends to lose commitment with everything, it seems. But I've seen some really cool guys, like with full body tattoos, and I'm sitting going, I don't know how you have the patience to sit there doing that to get that. I know mine took, the one down my spine, just upgrading it, took 8 hours, and it pissed blood at one point because she went a bit too deep with the tattoo gun. It's a measure of taking, pain as well. Some people just never gonna want to do that, and that's cool. You don't have to. I think, honestly, comparatively, me getting my nipples pierced was more painful than getting the tattoo down my spine. I think that was, and some people have got like their nose pierced and their tongue pierced and shit like that. I'm saying that would probably be even more painful than getting your nips done. Yeah. But then again, it's only like a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes piercing it compared to 8 hours of it. You do tend to go numb a bit when they're tattooing, when they're filling in. So the outline hurts, but by the time you get to the filling in, it's kind of gone into shock. So you're kind of like, oh, this is just a weird humming. And it's kind of weird and scratchy, but it's humming. I mean, I was having full-blown conversations about mental health with a tattooist I was with. So she was telling me stories about how she had been to, she'd been committed herself and stuff like that. She had to go away to these retreats and stuff like that because she's just unstable. Meanwhile, she's sitting there digging a needle into my fucking back. I'm going, oh, okay, should you be near my back? Oh my God, this is permanent. But no, it's really nice. You have these great conversations, and they're the best therapists because they've been there, or they know someone who's been there, and they meet everyone. They're like bar people sans alcohol. You ever talk to someone behind the bar? Be mindful of people who are behind the bar and have many tattoos. There's a combination of genres there. They probably know a shitload. All about content and stuff like that. I can't generalize. You shouldn't generalize. But, in my family, I'm pretty much the only one who went, a decent depth into tattooing. My older sister has a Betty Boop on her shoulder, but that's not really, I wouldn't really count that. I think that was more for like what her friends got done, because I think her friend at the time also sat with her and got her one. But I don't know, it's a cultural thing, and it's really important to keep these cultural things going, I think. growing up, my mum, my dad, my parents thought that tattoos were trashy, although they couldn't really stop us. So my brother, surprisingly, considering he was meant to be the rebel and the trouble kid in the family, he's not got anything going on with him. He's no piercings or anything. He does on occasion smoke weed though, so it's like, but I don't know. I think that's more for him to relax rather than anything. And he always does it very safely. Like, he's a dad, so he always makes sure someone else is looking after the kid, and he's sitting down and he's just playing his video games or something like that, and he just has some weed through a, I don't know, it's a hooker? Something like that. It's never anything that I went into because I just don't understand it. I'd rather express myself through sort of, art and piercings. That's why I sort of explore myself. I don't think I'd get any more piercings, but my tattoo I will spread. I will get bigger, I think. I don't know what into, because it will occur to me at the time. But that design took a hell of a lot of time. I've also got like a waning or waxing crescent, which was like a present when I was born. So it's meant to mean like you're a nice person or some shit like that. See, sometimes I believe my own shit. I'm a nice person, so I got myself covered in a waxing moon. Because I'm so awesome. Oh my god. But no, these things hold significant value to me, especially in the esoteric side of things. I'm looking for meaning in my tattoos and stuff like that. I don't do it on a whim. It took like years to plan out how the current one is. It might take a couple of years again for me to figure out what I want to do next with it. I know it's permanent, so I take my time. I like one of the guys from what was my local pub, who's covered head to foot in tattoos, but he used to be in the army, so I don't know what the story is there. But I'd like to know. I like the stories that go with tattoos. Some of the girls had good ones as well, but I think it was more to do with like fashionable stuff. They had like Alice in Wonderland and stuff like that shit. I'm going, okay. I don't know if this has anything to do with your culture or anything like that, but okay. Or what you've gone through, I don't know. I've seen some weird ones as well. It's really fascinating. You sit there and think, why did you choose that? That's just a random as fuck one. Yeah. Anyway, I love watching those, you ever watch those like LA Ink ones? Some of the ones they come up with that, is it LA Ink? I don't know why they're more dramatized these days with the stories. I was more interested in watching the tattoos getting done and how they came out, but then there's always some kind of element they want to add. There's drama's happening in the shop, and it's like, who fucking cares? Get on with the job. We're here to watch the tattoos. I don't really care about who's dating who's upset who. Just get on with the tattoos. That's why we're here. You're a tattoo shop. It's like going to a donut shop and expecting people to have, Jerry Springer size fights over sprinkles. It's weird. Stop it. That's probably why I can't stand like the Housewives of whatever shows. Oh, they drive me fucking nuts. They drive me. It's like, I can't stand drama as it is. Aftercare of tattoos is important. The last thing you want to do is lose half your fucking tattoo in scabs. That's a very expensive mistake. Because then they have to go back and do it again anyway once it's healed, and it takes fucking forever to heal. I had 2 sessions between my tattoos. I had the outline done, and then I had to wait 8 weeks for it to heal over, so they had a clear outline, and then they went back and did the fill-in. So the fill-in is where you're going to get the biggest scab / flaking if you don't look after it. The outline they can redo in a heartbeat. It's nothing. It's just like filling in dots. At one point, the first time I got my big rose done, and my rose didn't heal properly. It peeled. So I had to go get that redone the second time. They're pretty good that way. Try and find yourself a good, clean one. If the office doesn't smell like Dettol, then worry. From experience, Dettol provides the best tattooers. You know it's clean. And besides, Dettol smells nice. It's really nice. It's calming, man. It's like someone's going to stab you a billion times, but hey, it smells nice, right? I always preferred to get like a room where I'm on my own with the tattoos. I feel a bit creepy having someone sitting next to me. Like when I got my fill-in done for the one I've got now, I had I was getting mine done, so I was laying on my stomach, just half falling asleep, to be honest. And then I had a guy getting his forearm done. Or, is it forearm? What's the one where it's like your wrist area? Yeah, over the tendons. He was getting that done, but he was chatting, and I didn't know this guy. It was really close proximity, and I felt a bit weird because I was topless. And I'm like, I would like my own room next time, please. My boobs are out. I know they're tiny, but come on. Pimples on a duck's bum, dude. I know. They're not impressive. But this is a guy I don't know, and this is a bit odd. But they're like, you'll be fine. It's like, will I? Will I? Who the fuck is this? So you've got to take into consideration the people you're tattooing, I think, guys. So if you're gonna go around, marking up people's body, make sure that they are very soft, nice people that tattoo as well, and they're in a good mood. Because if they're in a bad mood, they're gonna fucking kill you. They're gonna lacerate your skin badly. When I was getting my fill-in done as well, there was a guy in the other room as well. He was not in a good mood. He was listening to some kind of screamer metal. It was screaming. Slasher or something metal. I don't know, like that. But it was clearly amping him up. And I don't know who he was tattooing, but he sounded pretty aggressively loud while he was doing it. I'm going, I'm glad it's the girls doing me at this point, because I don't want that guy doing it. It's important. But I was really good. The only problem I had with the design process, what bugged me was the wait you had to do. So you put your bits and pieces in, you email off to the tattoo place, and it could take months to get it back to you where they put it back together. That's the only thing that bugged me. But bearing in mind, they've got to get all the right ratios, they've got to trace everything, they've got to put it all together with a color scheme and things like that as well, and it takes time. And they're already, working as well full time, so, you got to give them some slack. And I'd rather them get the design done right than, rush it and half-ass it and then stick it on anyway, and you just have to sort of settle with it, even though it's not really what you wanted. I might get my Phoenix redone a bit, colour-wise, and my Monarch Butterfly, because that didn't heal as great as I wanted. The colour's not as bright as I want it to be. But that I can wait for. That's such a piddly little bit I wouldn't bother going back right now for. Just to bug them. It's like, hey, you got half an hour? No. So, yeah, they were pretty chill. Find yourself a nice chill tattooist. In terms of things like celebrity and stuff, I don't know why they do it as well. It could have meaning for them. I mean, I know if you get to that stage in, like the social sphere, you might have benchmarks you want to meet up with and express through art. I don't know if it's not just like jumping bandwagons though at the same time. So I suppose it's in the eye of the beholder, really. I would suggest, if you have not got a high pain threshold, don't do it, because once you start, you cannot stop. You cannot end up with half a tattoo because you chicken shit it out. This is a full big job. If you're gonna get tattooed, start small. If you're not sure, like small, like size of your thumbprint, small. Okay, see if you can handle that, and imagine that spread over the area which you inevitably would get done anyway. It feels like the healing process feels like sunburn, like strong sunburn. When they're putting in the outline needle, it feels, what does it feel like? It feels like a razor. I remember that. It does feel like a razor. But between sittings, you'll forget what it feels like. You'll go, I'll be fine. And that's what I did. I made the mistake of doing that. I remembered when I got the outline done, I went, oh, fuck, that kind of hurts. And then I went back. By the second time, I'd forgotten how much it hurts. And then they started doing the fill-in, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. But I was falling asleep during the fill-in because your body goes into shock, your skin goes into shock, until they find a new area, or they have to go over the same area a few times. But I was just sitting there dribbling away, had my music on, always a good idea. Bring music, unless you can talk for hours on end, which I can't. I had my music in, and it sort of chilled me out. And I was just listening to opera, actually, funny enough, or something like that. It was something slow, because I knew if I listened to like metal or something like that, I'd be my anxiety would go up and I'd feel the pain a bit more, and I didn't want to. So keep the music chill. Chew some gum, yes, because that will also get your head out of that space where you're feeling this pain. Aftercare is essential. It will take a couple of weeks to heal. It will. The cuts themselves will initial seal up in the first week. But the backfill takes a while. I suggest baby butt cream. Not the thick stuff like Sudocrem, because it does create like lumps under your skin. But I just use Bepanthen, which is, just baby butt cream for nappy rash. And then you don't need to bandage it or anything. They'll put like a gauze / plastic wrap, which is Glad wrap, over the top of it initially, just to seal the blood in, and they'll put like a baby butt cream on it then. But generally after that you need to air it out anyway, because if you start trying to keep it sealed, it will create blisters under the skin and it'll fuck up the ink. So you do need to air it out. Funny enough, although it will make a scab and it will peel, so you're going to lose some of your ink, but hopefully if you look after it properly, you're not going to lose all your ink, or the majority of it really. What else can I say about tattoos? I don't know. Do your research. Don't just go on anything on a whim. This is a nice vintage looking bike. Sorry, I got a squirrel vision there. I was looking at motorbikes. What else? I think I'm just going to have to leave it there, I think. I don't know much more about tattoos. I definitely would like to research it. Anything to do with, like, Yakuza and stuff like that would be interesting to look into. But, of course, I couldn't use them myself because that is a cultural thing. I wouldn't touch it anyway. My cultural side of things comes more like imbuing sort of strength from the tattoos as well, like that. I do have that superstitious side to me. But, it's life milestones and things like that. It should be something that you can live with. Don't pick anything that's fucking ugly. Like, I would never cover myself in skulls or something like that, because I know at some point I'm going to go, oh, fucking hell, that looks gross. I know there's some people sort of associate things like skulls and with like toughness and stuff like that. I can understand it from a masculine viewpoint, maybe. I don't know. It's down to the individual. Try and find something you can live with. Don't just do it because you think it's cool at the time. I put a lot of time and investment into picking mine, so, Anyway, all right, I'm going to leave it there, I think, because I'm nearly at my destination anyway, and I haven't really got much to say about that, so I hope you have a great weekend, or rather a great week, considering it's Monday. Don't let the stress get to you. If you want to get tattoos, definitely do your research. Look after yourself. Pick someone who's really nice, who's soft and gentle when it comes to tattooing. If you're a girl, yes, it will be different from a boy. Don't do what your friends do just because you think it's cool. Do it because it's for you, and you should be looking after yourself. And your desires and everything come first, right? It's your body, your choice. Don't let anyone tell you what you need to do. All right, so I'm going to leave it there. I'll see ya. Bye.